Hi, this is Laura Perez and welcome to today's Tax and Business Matters. Today let us learn how getting married affects your taxes. When you get married, your tax situation changes for better or for worse. And there are decisions to make regarding how the two of you should file. Here are the most important things to know. Number 1. Married at year-end means married for the whole year. Your marital status on December 31st determines your tax filing options for the entire year. If you're married at year-end, you have only two choices. 1. File jointly with your new spouse, or 2. Use married filing separate status for a separate return based on your income and your deductions and credits. Most married couples file jointly. Here's why. It's simpler. You have to file only one Form 1040. And you don't have to worry about figuring out which income, deduction and tax credit items belong to which spouse. Other things being equal, simple is good. It's often cheaper too. That's because using married filing separate status makes you ineligible for some potentially valuable tax breaks, such as the child care credit and the two higher education credits. Therefore, filing two separate returns often results in a bigger combined tax bill than filing one joint return. Number 2. If you file jointly, you're on the hook for your spouse's tax misdeeds. Despite the preceding advantages, filing jointly is not a no-brainer for one big reason. For any year that you file a joint return, you're generally jointly and severally liable for any federal income tax underpayments and penalties caused by your new spouse's unintentional tax errors or omissions or deliberate tax misdeeds. Joint and several liability means the IRS can come after you for tax underpayments and penalties. If collecting from your spouse proves to be difficult or impossible, they can even come after you long after you have become divorced. However, if you can prove you didn't know anything about your spouse's tax failings, had no reason to know and did not personally benefit, then you can try to claim an exemption from the joint and several liability rule under the so-called innocent spouse provisions. This is easier said than done. In contrast, if you file separately, you have no liability for your spouse's tax screw-ups or intentional misdeeds. Bottom line. If you have doubts about your new spouse's financial ethics in general and their attitude about paying taxes in particular, I suggest filing separately until those doubts are completely dispelled. Although your tax bill might be somewhat higher than if you file jointly, it could be a small price to pay for insurance against the joint and several liability threat. Will you pay the marriage penalty or collect the marriage bonus? You've undoubtedly heard about the tax penalty on marriage. It causes some, but not all, married joint filing couples to owe more federal income tax than if they had remained single. The reason? At higher income levels, the tax rate brackets for joint filers are not twice as wide as the rate brackets for singles. For example, the 28% rate bracket for singles starts at $82,400 of taxable income for 2010. For married joint filing couples, the 28% bracket starts at $137,300. If you and your spouse each have $80,000 of taxable income, you'll get socked with the $681 marriage penalty because $22,700 of your combined income falls into the 28% rate bracket. If you stayed single, none of your income would be taxed at more than 25%. On the other hand, many married couples actually collect a tax bonus from being married. If one spouse earns most or all of the taxable income, it's highly likely that filing jointly will reduce your tax bill, the marriage bonus. Bottom line, if you and your new spouse both earn healthy and fairly equal incomes, you'll likely fall victim to the marriage penalty. If not, you'll likely collect the marriage bonus. That's all there is on how getting married affects your taxes. You can check on more IRS tax tips on our website, www.howtodouryourowntaxes.com. Please join me again next time. This is Laura Perez saying goodbye and have a nice day.